Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV, and we're coming to you live tonight from Charlotte Motor Speedway, the road course, which is the first time I've ever called a race in this configuration. But we're here for round 11 of the Skip Barber Monday Lights, and it's going to be an action-packed race, that's for sure. Now, having a look at the point score at the moment, we have this round and the final round at Mount Panorama next week. Angelo Salura is leading the way on 202 points. He's just 2 points clear of Enzo Cantor on second on 200. Ben Conroy has a fair bit of work to do there. He's got to jump up about 40 points at the moment, but he's sitting in third. Fourth is Russell Clark, and he's equal fourth with Joel Piotrowski, both on 150 points. And then in sixth is Mark Jeffrey, equal with Luke Whitten. So for those new to the series, basically the top two splits attract points, so any of the guys in the top two splits can actually take this this championship out. But at the moment, the Italians are leading the way, and they've got quite a bit of a gap happening at this stage. As you can see, we're in the final stages of qualifying, and we will be racing very shortly. Just having a look at our weather though, it's mostly cloudy out there today with a wind speed of 25 kilometres an hour, and the track temp is 34 degrees Celsius. So it's quite a hot one out there today, and it's going to be quite interesting to see how the drivers go. I'll be joined very shortly with Kevin Henderson, will be co-commentating with me tonight, and I'll be looking forward to that. He's just got a few little PC issues, and then he will be joining us. But looking at our qualifying at the moment, we have Norbert Salsa, a new name out there with pole 120.230. Enzo Cantor currently second in the championship, in second position, and then Chris Lazarevic is in third at this stage. Stephen Stoyles is fourth, and then rounding out our top five is Angelo Salura. So we're just getting to the end now of qualifying, and while the guys are getting on the grid, let's take you through the starting order tonight. So Norbert Salsa will start from pole position, followed by Enzo Cantor. Third, Chris Lazarevic, Then we have Stoyles out of fourth. Fifth is Angelo Salura. Sixth, Mick Gray, followed by Bennett in seventh. Bolster will start out of eighth. Lord, ninth. Luke Whitten will start out of 10th today. 11th is Russell Clark. Then Ryger out of 12th. 13th, Sam Katacazinos. Keep an eye on Sam. Darryl Ridley back there in 14th. 15th is Alex McCullough. And then rounding out our field of 16 is Jason Willman. So we'll be racing very shortly, folks. We take a bit of a wide angle here so we can actually try and get the full field here. We're sort of, well, we don't want that view, do we, folks? Alright, so the revs will be rising shortly. Norbert will be starting off pole. Keep an eye on Enzo, though, as they come into this first corner. The revs are rising. And we're underway. Norbert's got a good start there. Enzo Cantor a bit slow off the line, it must be said, with as they come into the first corner. It looks like a nice clean start so far. So it's looking like a great start here as the cars come through turn 3 here. It's looking pretty packed in the midfield. Bit of dust flying, but it's looking clean so far. All cars are through the first couple of corners here. So at the moment we've got Norbert Salsa in front, Enzo Cantor second. Third is... We'll wait till they complete this first lap, then we'll tell you. But it's an 18 lap race here tonight, folks, an official race, so it's going to be a sprint from start to finish here tonight, as we can see them now just coming down the back straight. Enzo's diving on the inside. He's got the draft and he'll take this through to take the lead. And Norbert's being pushed up high now. The number 7's coming through, and that is Chris Lazarevic there. So Chris is up to second. He's now threading the needle between Norbert and Enzo. Enzo's going wide, defending there, and holds off, but Chris has had to brake hard, and that's definitely made him vulnerable there as he drops it back to third position, diving on the inside. I'm just going to reset our overlays, folks, so that I can actually see the real driver order here, and it might make it a little bit easier to call this race at the moment. So looking in third position is Chris Lazarevic, and then followed by Norbert Salsa there in fourth position. Enzo Cantor, though, he has the lead of this race. Looking further back, in fifth position is Angelo Solura. He needs to get this car up there because there's only 2 points difference between himself and Enzo Cantor, and he cannot afford another poor race here with 1 round to go. But we can see now the slipstream starting to get in. We've got Enzo on the inside and trying to get the number of the car on the outside. That is Stephen Stoyles there on the outside. 3 wide with Norbert Salsa coming up. And as we come in here, Enzo's going to go deep under brakes there, and he holds on to that second position, pushing Stephen back, and Chris Lazarevic now is having a go. But look at Angelo Solura here coming up in fifth position, and all 5 of these cars are starting to get a bit of a gap. You can see the guys are really cutting those corners, and they can afford to cut corners in there because some of these corners, the first couple of corners, they can afford to get both wheels on the infield there, and they won't get a cut track penalty. Looking further back, we have Mitchell Bennett in 6th, and then in 7th, or 8th, sorry, is David Lord. He looks like he's had a bit of an incident there because he was in 7th position, but he's dropped a long way back with Patrick Bolster in 8th. Luke Whitten at the moment, he's up to 10th position, and that he pretty much started there, so he's holding station. But meanwhile, back up front here we have Enzo Cantor just taken the lead, and then we have Norbert Salsa getting a run, but here comes Stephen Stoyles on the outside. It seems like it's going to be the way of this race, and it's going to be a very close finish if this continues for the next 15 laps here at Charlotte Motor Speedway tonight. So you can see Mick Gray at the moment. He's having a good drive tonight, and he's currently in 7th position, and he's fighting with Mitchell Bennett at the moment. Mitchell goes wide, he hangs onto it, but this is going to allow Mick through, and Mitchell's just run out of road, but that's going to push him back now. Patrick Bolster and David Lord further back will catch him, and you can't afford that around here, because once you get on the straight, you're a sitting duck. Can see now Enzo Cantor on the inside, Stephen on the outside. Here comes Norbert to make it 3 wide yet again. Chris Lazarevic also getting the draft here, almost 4 wide. Down the front straight here to tick off another lap. That is 4 laps around, and there's going to be contact here. Enzo's got it sideways, you better watch it, but good driving there by all. But Angelo Solura, he's now starting to make a move. He's going to throw it in, but he's run out of road. And, riding now with Angelo Solura here as he dives on the inside. You can see the number 10 on the outside, and he's made that move, but he'll have to watch it once they get onto this big sweeping left-hander that they're coming up to now. So looking back now at Stephen Stoyles, we'll see this slipstream taking effect. You can just see how much that toe works, and they're coming around the final sweeper now onto the front straight, and look at how much gap they've got. Barely 3 feet between the two of them here, and we know Angelo is very good at defending. He can make this car extremely wide when he needs to. And that's exactly what he's done there as he defends off from Stephen Stoyles. But meanwhile, up front, Enzo Cantor is not running away from this race. Chris Lazarevic right behind him. Norbert Salsa also there, but they've got to keep an eye on Angelo, because as this race goes, we know the Europeans, they try to run away with it. But I'll just see if Kevin, how you going there, Kevin? You got the technical issues out of the way yet?
No, I'm sorry. Only at the moment. I'm just trying to hotspot my phone, mate. So give me another 5 minutes.
No worries.
Okay.
We're up to just completed lap 5 here, folks. Enzo Cantor leading the way. Chris Lazarevic, God, I'm getting tongue-tied tonight, in a second. Norbert third. Angelo still holding off 4th position and trying to get the benefit of that toe. As we can see now, Chris, he has to go wide. Enzo's just hugging the inside of the tri-oval here and forcing both cars up wide, and that's the way he wants to do it, because he knows he can go deep under brakes here and hold them out as they come in 3 wide into turn 1 again. It's going to be close here. They've got a bit of an overlap, but keep an eye on Enzo as he goes deep, and he cuts them off, and Angelo throws it in. And now 3 wide through turn 2. It's getting a bit tight back here. Angelo's trying to push around the outside at the moment of Norbert, and he does it, and Norbert drops back to 5th. I think there's a little bit of contact there. Oh, and Stevens got into Angelo, and Angelo's lost it. So let's get a replay of that incident. Angelo definitely looked aggressive there, and it looked like Stephen wasn't going to have a bar of it. As we come back to the action here, we can see Angelo really, as we can see now coming in, Angelo's covered off the line as we look at the super slow-mo, and Stevens just tagged the back of him. And that sent Angelo around, of course, but that's going to cost him a lot of positions here tonight. So Angelo, at the moment, he's rejoined, and he's a long way down, 7th position at the moment, with Patrick Bolster now trying to make it 8th position. So a lot of work for Angelo to get back to the top 5. And with 11 laps to go, I don't think he'll have the pace, because the guys out the front are setting a blistering pace here tonight. So at the moment, Chris Lazarevic, he's got the lead, followed by Enzo Cantor in second. They've both got a gap now, because Stephen had contact with Angelo Salura, and it's cost him quite a few positions. Down in 4th, Mick Gray having a great run tonight, followed by David Lord in our top 5. I'd like to welcome also to our commentary box Ian. How you going, Ian? Okay, it's definitely a night of technical glitches here tonight, folks. We do have Ian Bevan in the comm box here, but unfortunately I cannot hear him at this stage, so hopefully he'll get that sorted and then he'll join us. The Norbert Salsa, after that contact with Angelo Salura, has had to pit and use a fast repair. So that was a 2.1 second fast repair, but that's put him right down the back of the field and out of contention for tonight, unfortunately. So we can see now Chris Lazarevic still leading Enzo Cantor. As we jump on board now with Enzo, and you can just see how much they can cut this corner. This is what I was saying. They can get 2 wheels in there and they won't get a cut track penalty here. But and they're definitely taking full advantage of that here tonight. At the moment, the fastest lap of the race goes to Angelo Solura with a 1:19.498, and that was set while he was getting the benefit of that tow earlier on tonight before that incident. And now riding with Enzo Cantor, we can just see now the slipstream. Chris, he's going to dive to the inside here. Enzo wants it, but he's going to be forced to the outside here, and we'll see if Chris can go deep under brakes or whether Enzo can try and take this from the outside. So go side by side into the tri-oval now, coming into turn 1. And we can see Enzo took it. He took it on the outside. He can go deep under brakes there. I'll just check. Have we got you now, Ian?
I think so, Bernie. I think I'm here now.
Fantastic, mate. It's been a night of technical difficulties. We did have Kevin Henderson earlier, but he's had internet connection issues. So thanks for jumping up. I'm hoping you'll help me call this race tonight.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, I had some troubles getting into the session, so I'm a little bit late. But you know, there's been exciting racing here all week. The draft at this track is absolutely bonkers. You either love it or you hate it. And I'm just trying to bring myself up to speed now with what's going on track.
Yeah, so our top 5 at the moment, folks. We've got Enzo Cantor leading the way. Looking at the live gap, he's got 1 second gap now over Chris Lazarevic in second position. In return, Chris has 1.2 seconds up on Stephen Doyle. You can see him now trying to weave to try to break that draft to stop Stephen catching up. Mick Gray up to 4th position, and 5th closely behind is David Lord. And then Angelo Solura, he's moved back up to 6th after that contact. At the moment, we've had 2 guys in trouble. Norbert Sulsa with contact with Angelo Solura, and Luke Witten is unfortunately sitting in the pits, and it looks like his race might be done tonight, Ian.
Yeah, it's a race of the higher numbers, isn't it? Looking at the high numbers in 3rd, 4th and 5th.
Yeah, it definitely is. We've got a really good turnout of drivers here again tonight, as we see Stephen getting really wide, but Enzo's a big winner here. He had a 2-point lead coming into this round. Angelo Solura has found trouble again, and he's down in 6th, so that gap's going to widen. So we just...
Yeah,
Sorry, go.
Yeah, sorry, I was saying there's a 3-second gap now between Angelo and Mick Gray, although Angelo just getting a little bit loose there as he entered into the oval. If he can close that gap down to 1.5 seconds, he'll be able to gain on those 2 guys in front and get himself up the wall close to the podium positions.
Yeah, and we're just having a look at the replay as well, because Enzo Cantor actually got loose coming onto the tri-oval here, and that's cost him a position. He dropped down to 2nd as we go to our super slow-mo. Oh yeah, he got the wheels off on the grass there, and he's got that completely sideways, but I tell you what, it was an excellent save. He's kept it going, and he recovered it.
Yeah, he's the save master. We've seen him have 2 or 3 incidents like that in these races.
Yeah, well, we saw last week when he had a bit of a tag on the last lap there from Ben, and he drifted it around there too. We don't know how he held it. But at the moment, Enzo's down in 3rd position. Stephen Stoyles has capitalised up to 2nd. So the other person I can't see out there tonight, which is unfortunate, is Ben Conroy. He was running 3rd in the point score, but unfortunately he's not made the top split here tonight, if in fact he's racing tonight at all.
Yeah, I haven't checked on the other splits, Bernie. I'm just sitting on board with Angelo here, and he's got a little bit of lap traffic in front of him, but I think that's going to work to his favour because he's going to get the draft now from Luke, and that's really going to help him close in on Mick Gray.
Yeah, and that's what he needs to do. He's in basically damage recovery now. With Enzo dropping down to third, it's going to help his cause a bit because there's only 3 positions between him and the championship leader at this point. Enzo now, boy, I tell you what, Ian, he can go deep under brakes into turn 1.
Yeah, especially brave when you consider that he's got a slightly high ping being in Europe.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what server the guys are running on. Last week they weren't actually racing on an Australian server. It's quite strange. I'm not sure if they were on a European or a US server. I think they might have been on.
Yeah, well, I didn't do too well as a result of some of the netcode that happened there. So yeah, I think that iRacing really could do with revisiting just how they choose the servers because, there's been examples of a very highly dominantly Australian New Zealand field, like sort of 13 or 14 out of the 16 drivers, and that they still placed it on an American server.
Yeah, I always thought they used to do it on the majority, where the majority comes from, but maybe they've changed that rule now, as we can see them. Sorry, go.
Also, they did make an improvement this season. It used to be that they would split the races based not just on in fact not on geography, but on the strength of field. No, on geography, but not on strength of field. They do properly split on strength of field, but I think they just need to tweak which server they pick to race on.
So we're jumping on board now with Chris Lazarevic, and look at Enzo on the outside. Oh man, he's got pace. He's actually passed Chris on the outside into turn 1 and 2, and he's pulled about 2 car lengths here.
Yeah, that's terrific driving. He's got a lot of confidence, doesn't he? He just seems to be able to pick the line, pick the braking points, and just execute. Yeah,
and I tell you what, Ian, he has his sights firmly set on taking this championship out this season. He's hungry to take it, and he set that goal at the end of last season, and he's definitely coming back, and at the moment must be the favourite to take out this season's championship.
Now, we've seen some crazy stuff this week, though. I've got to say, top drivers getting themselves all in a tangle, and so I think Angelo should just keep his foot down, because anything could still happen here.
Yeah, well, it's quite interesting as well. When the European drivers first came to this series, they tended to be able to run away from the Aussies, but I tell you what, lately the Aussies have been taking it to them and putting up a fantastic showing. And not only the Aussies, we should say the New Zealanders as well, shouldn't we?
I was about to pick you up on that. I think it's not just the Aussies.
Yeah, no, I remembered who I had in the booth, and I thought I better throw in our mates from across the ocean there.
Yeah, but you're quite right. I sort of said this a few weeks ago here, and the strength of the drivers in the Australia-New Zealand area has just rocketed in the past sort of 18 months, 2 years. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant, and they always put on a great show, and with 4 laps to go they're doing it again here tonight, folks, because we've got Chris leading the way, followed by Enzo second. Stevens caught up with them in third, and then we've got Mick Gray defending against David Lord for 4th and 5th. Where's Angelo Salura? Well, he's just got past Luke Whitten, and he's got quite a bit of a gap to make up, so I don't think he's going to improve tonight, Ian.
Well, no, he needs something to happen in front of him. He needs the guys in front to be, not necessarily having a tangle. We wouldn't wish that on them, maybe fighting quite a bit. But, on this track, the fighting just tends to be one going around the outside on the oval. And as I say, that Enzo has gone around the outside of Chris. I was wondering if Enzo was just going to hold back there. He's so good under brakes into turn 1. He could have afforded just to set in the draft for 2 or 3 laps. But I don't think he's that kind of driver, He just wants to get out there and fight from the front.
He certainly does, and I tell you what, he had to thread the needle between Chris and Stephen. He actually cut Stephen off, cut his run off, didn't he? And he said he wanted the high line, and he just took it.
He did, but Chris being very good under brakes there, and he's pushed his way through on the inside into turn 1.
Yeah, well, he knows now he has to go deep under brakes, and he's really just trying to get Enzo's measure here as they're coming down to 3 laps remaining of this race. Now, considering the strength of this draft, if you were Chris Lazarevic, would you want to be leading coming onto this tri-oval for the last time, or would you want to try to sit back in second and get that slingshot?
No, I'd be in second. I'd definitely be in second. That suits my style of driving. I much prefer to be the guy in second or behind the guy in front, if you see what I mean, applying pressure. But I'm just saying, watching Enzo here now, I don't think he's going to have the patience. I think he's just going to go around the outside and ask the question to Chris. Albany can't. Sorry, I've just realised there's someone outside of him. Who's that?
Yeah, that's Stephen Stoyles. He woke up to that last time he had the high line run, and this time he's cut Enzo off from taking that opportunity.
3 wide.
I'll tell you what though, Enzo just creates a gap, doesn't he? As he throws it on the inside, but Stephen Stoyles on the outside. Stephen might take the lead, he does.
Well, we've already set up for an exciting last couple of laps here, haven't we?
Well, we certainly do. We've got this is the first time I think Stephen's taken the lead. He's actually battled up there from 5th position. 5th position he started out of earlier tonight, so he's definitely a guy to look out for, and I haven't actually seen him in this series before, Ian.
No, I can't say I'm familiar with him. I mean, he's got car number 10, so, you know, he's not one of the most experienced drivers out there, but the draft here is a fantastic leveller, and, you know, he's capitalised on Chris and Enzo sort of scrapping here. He's done a good job. You know, I'm looking at car number 11 and car number 13 in positions, 4 and 5, I think, at the race right now, so, yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it certainly is, and now Enzo's getting the draft. He's going to go on the outside, but we know he can make that move work, don't we?
I think Chris is wondering where to go. He's not quite sure what to do here.
Yeah, he's going to have to go on the high line, which he is. He's also carrying a bit of front wing damage, so I'm not sure how much that would be affecting him at this point in time.
Yeah, I don't think very much. I think I was looking at all 3 cars actually have got a little bit of front wing damage, but you know, it doesn't make much difference in these cars.
I tell you what, it looks like the outside is a way to do it, isn't it? As they nearly go 3 wide through turn 2, Chris Lazarevic has now taken the lead again from the outside, so it looks like that definitely works. But here comes Stephen Stoyles, and he's going to throw it in, and that's getting pretty close.
Well, something's got to happen here for Angelo to keep one hand on the trophy. Last few metres.
Yeah, well, keep an eye on Enzo. He's going to get this draft. He's sitting in 3rd at the moment. He's coming up now on Stephen. Stephen in return is coming up on Chris Lazarevic. This track is known for a close finish, and we're in for it tonight, Ian, as they're coming into the final turn.
Yeah, this is just too close to call.
Looks like Stephen's got the run, but Chris is trying to get in. He's just made room for himself. He's got the slingshot, and it looks like this is going to be really close. Who's going to take this out tonight? Oh. Looks like Chris Lazarevic may have taken that just on the line. As we catch breath, we can see now David Lord coming through for 4th position tonight, and Mick Gray will come home in 5th. But such is the, I guess, skill level here. We could see once the guys dropped back a bit, there's no way they can get those cars back up here again. As we saw with Angelo Salura, he did not improve from 6th position once he was pushed down that far.
No, once he was out of the draft, it was kind of all over. And I watched him a little bit. He was pushing quite hard, and I think it ended up maybe costing him a little time rather than winning in time.
Yeah, so we're going to actually jump on board with Chris Lazarevic here and just see if he's actually... let's see if we can jump on board. Instant replay. And we'll just see how close this finish was. Chris definitely feels like he's won that race, but we'll just have a look here as we come into the final lap here. We can see There's Stephen here. Here he is coming down the outside, so we'll follow this through and just see how close this finish was, folks. So we go to the super slow-mo here. We can see, just by a nose length did Chris Lazarevic take this win tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Ian.
Yeah, it was a terrific finish. You know, Chris picked the line. I was just watching the replay there. He sort of sat in there and just got the draft, found the gap, away he went.
And Stephen blew the motor just after the start-finish line. Maybe that was just a little bit of frustration possibly. But let's have a look at how they finished here tonight. Chris Lazarevic right on the line takes out the win. 0.02 of a second was the gap between him and Stephen Stiles for second. Enzo Kander settles for third. Then we have David Lord home in fourth, followed by Mick Gray fifth. Sixth, Angelo Solura, so he could not recover from that spin, and that's going to cost him a few points, but it could have been worse. Enzo could have won this race, but he's settled for third. Then Anton Reiger home in seventh, followed by Russell Clark, and then Alex McCullough in ninth. Darryl Ridley comes home in 10th position. 11th, Jason Willman, followed by Norbert Salsa in 12th. Then Mitchell Bennett home for 13th, followed by Patrick Bolster, another new name. It looked like Sam Katakasinos had some issue there. He dropped a lap and he had to pit, and so did Luke Whitten. So that's the roundup there, Ian. What did you think of that race, mate?
Yeah, I'm a little annoyed I missed the first 5 laps. It sounded like it was pretty action-packed. But yeah, I mean, you know, a great race again. Again, just watching those last 3 cars coming through, and you couldn't have called it as they entered into the oval, and I think that maybe Stephen taking down into the inside thought he was defending that line, but all he really did was just give the draft effect to Chris and let him sweep around the outside. A very frustrating race for Enzo. I imagine he'll be in the commentary box, but I think Chris did quite an effective job of kind of shutting Enzo out in those last 2 corners, and yeah, just a great finish.
Yeah, it certainly was, and you could see Chris changing his style throughout that race. Earlier on, Enzo could outbrake him, but as that race went on, they all seemed to work out how to take to the outside line and go very deep under brakes there, didn't they?
Yeah, it's pretty brave because, you know, if you get that wrong, you're going to hit the wall there, and there's no recovering from that. You know, you're going to smash the suspension, you're straight into the pit. So it shows a great deal of confidence to be able to break that deep and get that close to the wall. Really impressive driving.
Yeah, it certainly is. We'll bring up our race winner now. Our third position. I thought... Yeah, where did Enzo finish? He finished in third position. So let's bring up Enzo and get his thoughts on tonight's race. Hi Enzo, welcome to RRTV's commentary box. Well, you guys put it on again tonight, and that was some close racing out there.
Oh, hi Bernie, hi Jan. Yes, it was a very close and challenging and exciting race today. But you know, at Charlotte is always like that. It's a lot of fun, a lot of risks, but a lot of fun, surely.
It certainly was, and having a look at our point score at the moment, you came into here 2 points behind Angelo Solura, who's actually raced an extra week than yourself. But unfortunately, Angelo had a bit of contact earlier on with Stephen, and he's finished in 6th. So you've got 3 positions up on him, so that should allow you to take the lead back again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure to regain the first position in the standings because I had 1 race less than Angelo, so it was important for me to finish this race without incidents, contacts, without finishing against the world champions. So I didn't take too much risks today. My goal it was to finish the race, as I told you. So it was a shame I didn't win the race, but it was a fun race till the last lap.
Yeah, it certainly was, and we also saw with about 3 laps to go, I think you just dropped that wheel on the grass coming back onto the main part of the track, and it was another fantastic save there by Mr. Enzo Cantor tonight. How did you hold on to that car?
I agree, Bernie. I don't know what happened in that moment. I was trying to take that corner a little bit too faster than the laps before, because I was trying to push out of my draft Chris Lazarevich. It was almost impossible, but I was trying to do that, and I took the grass. I lost perhaps 5 or 6 years of my life in that moment, because I was thinking, no, I was shit. I have to finish the race. I don't know. God helped me to recover the car, and it's not only stuff, but I was lucky too.
Yeah, well, it was reminiscent of last week when Benjamin gave you that tap on the final corner, and again you did this massive power slide last week, and you repeated that again this week. So are you going to go for a hat-trick and try that at Mount Panorama next week?
It is a move that I like, but I didn't do it on purpose, but many times it happened. So perhaps it happened so much times. So I learned how to control the car in that situation. I did it also in the GT3 World Championship qualifications last season with the McLaren GT3 on Brands Hatch. I don't know how I can do that. Perhaps I have to open a school to teach other how to control the car in that situations. I'm joking, sure.
Well, Enzo, it's Ian here. I've seen you make that save now. I think you possibly do have God in your corner, and that feels like a bit of an unfair advantage, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
Hey, if I could just ask you, Enzo, I was, we were sitting on board with you as you and Chris were battling. Were you not tempted to sit behind Chris and just take the draft and sort of wait for that last lap to make the pass? I just wondered if you thought about that.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that during all the race. I was not sure to want to finish the last lap in first position or in second or in third, because in this track, it's important also to not damage the front wing, because every lap you enter the oval section, you can damage your front wing, so you can lose some speed on the straight, and you can lose the race for that reason. So I was really careful in the exit on that corner, and I was trying, and you could see I tried all the race, many solutions to see in which was the better way to pass on the finish line in first position, and I was still thinking about that. In the in the 17th lap, we were 3 wide. Perhaps it was better to take the T1 in second position, but they were very aggressive. So in that moment, I think all about the championship. So no much risks in that corner. I was in third position. I was hoping to keep the draft of their draft to win the race, but it was a shame. I didn't. It was perhaps a mistake, a strategy mistake by me.
Well, I think you were playing the long game there, looking at the championship rather than the race. And I think Chris, watching the replay, I think Chris and Stephen sort of effectively closed the door on you. You had to have gone quite wide, and I think the time just wasn't there. But it was still, you only finished 4 100ths of a second down, so it's not like you were a long way back. But I might see you on track next week at Mount Panorama. It's not a track I know, but I'll look forward to battling with you again if that happens.
Oh, I'm very happy to hear this because I was hoping today to see you on the track. So let's see next week on Mount Panorama if we can finish the race. I will happy to battle with you as always.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah, we're just having a look at the super slow-mo now of Enzo Cantor's amazing save here, and it's really showing fantastic car control. Even on super slow-mo, I tell you what, you had to jump on that wheel pretty quick to correct that slide.
Oh, I didn't understand well. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, I was saying even in super slow motion, your handwork was very quick to be able to catch that slide.
Yeah, I don't know if my hand is the quickest part of my body or is the brain. I don't know. Sometimes my I feel like my hand is faster than my brain. I don't know. Finally, I have only to thanks, as always, my sponsor, Toastmaster, TRL, and my team Ivano, Fabio. Sorry if I have to say this every time, you know, these are contracts.
No, that's fine. You're more than welcome to give your sponsors a plug. And can you stay with us, because we have Angelo Salura down there in the green room, and I might need you to translate for us.
Yeah, sure.
Hello, Angelo, and welcome to RRTV's commentary box. You were looking very good earlier in the race, but unfortunately you had some contact with Stephen Stoyles.
Angelo, ti traduco io? Mi senti? Angelo, ci sei? I think Angelo
Sì, scusa, avevo il microfono spento.
Allora,
ciao,
traduco, Angelo.
sì, grazie
detto,
Enzo, sei gentilissimo.
Ti traduco io. Ha detto bella gara, però c'è stato un contatto che l'ha un po' rovinata. Dimmelo in italiano che glielo dico allora in inglese, vai.
Eh sì, grazie, eravamo, cioè tu hai fatto una bellissima gara, ero dietro di voi, pazienza, ero dietro a Chris, la Zavenic, e dietro di te con la speranza di seguirvi, ma poi purtroppo Stefan mi ha toccato e mi ha fatto girare, sono dovuto ripartire dalla nona posizione, decima, e ho recuperato qualche posizione. Comunque è stata una bellissima gara, i primi 7 giri spettacolari.
So he said it was a really good race. He was trying to keep the draft with my draft and Chris' draft, but unfortunately he was tapped by Stephen, and he was forced to regain the race in 11th position. So he tried to recover and gain positions to gain the better one he could. It was a fun race till in the first 9-10 laps.
Yeah, it certainly was, and a fantastic recovery drive to come back from 11th and finish in 6th position. So well done on that drive.
Ha detto che è stato un grandissimo recupero dall'11ª alla 6ª posizione, quindi complimenti per quello che hai fatto.
Thank you, complimenti a te Enzo e a tutti quanti, tu sei un grande pilota, diglielo bene.
He said thanks and congratulations to me and to all the others, and he said I am a great driver. I have to say it. He said this.
We'll let Ian, do you have any questions for Angelo?
Well, just to make sure that you'll be here next week, Angelo, for the big showdown, because of course you still have every chance of winning the championship. Mount Panorama is a notoriously difficult track with no margin for error. Are you looking forward to it?
Ha detto se la prossima settimana ci sarai a Mount Panorama, perché teoricamente hai ancora possibilità per vincere il campionato, quindi vuole sapere se ci sarai oppure no.
Spero di sì, sarò fuori per il weekend perché sarò a Venezia venerdì, sabato e domenica. Domenica sera dovrei rientrare con la speranza di fare il mio meglio. Però penso che non ho possibilità di vincere il campionato se c'è un signor Enzo Canta.
He said he will be on journey Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. So he will come back on Sunday evening. He will try to do the race on Monday, but he think it will be very difficult to win the championship if next Monday there will be a man called Enzo Canta. He said this.
Well, we'll see. But as Mount Panorama is, of course, probably Australia's most famous racing track. So, being from New Zealand myself, the only thing I'm really interested in is annoying the Australians and making sure that an Australian doesn't actually win next week. After that, I'm really happy. I don't mind.
Yeah, perhaps you and all the Australians will be favorite to win the race. I don't know. I am pretty fast there, but perhaps I never challenged against Australian driver. I don't like so much that track, but it will be surely very funny to race against you.
Well, yeah, I've never raced there, and just to say again, I'm not from Australia. I'm from New Zealand, so hey, it'll be good. It'll be good. I'm going to put a few hours in at the weekend and just see if I can keep up with you guys.
Oh, you are more nearer to Australia than me, surely.
Well, that's true. That's true.
And finally, for Angelo, does he have any sponsors he'd like to thank?
Angelo, devi ringraziare qualche sponsor?
No, non siamo sponsorizzati a parte G-Corning, che è uno dei nostri sponsor per quanto riguarda che è sul logo il logo sta sulla macchina, grazie a G-Corning, che tra l'altro è un nostro pilota del team.
Okay, I think you could understand what he said.
Let's see how well I understand Italian. I think he said he does not have a sponsor, but he would definitely like to have a sponsor.
Someone like this, something like this. He doesn't have sponsors, but he have to thanks to G. Carmin, that is one I think a man who helped him a lot, and his logo is on the car. So this is only the only one thanks he have to do.
Okay, fantastic. Well, anyway, Enzo and Angelo, thank you for popping into the commentary box, and we look forward to the action next week at Mount Panorama.
Thank you, and I only want to say one pray for Jan or Bernie, or I don't know who. Put the replay of the race online as soon as possible, because I want to watch it again.
Yeah, what happens is we record it live, but then it takes YouTube an hour or two to encode it, and then the replay will be up after that. So even though YouTube has it, it takes a little time.
I know, but I know also that in Australia it's evening, so perhaps you have to go to bed. So do it before going to bed.
Yes, I will. As soon as we get offline here, it'll be with YouTube, but then it'll take them another hour or so to encode the race, so you can watch it back.
Okay, thank you, and see you next week. Bye, Jan. Bye, Bernie. Bye, Angelo.
Okay, bye Enzo, bye Bernie, bye Bevan. Thank you.
Yep, thanks guys.
Yep. Thanks guys, and we'll see you next week.
Ok, ciao Enzo, alla prossima.
Ciao.
Well, that definitely brings an international feel to this championship, doesn't it, Ian?
Well, it certainly does. I've been wondering if maybe we should pitch this Monday night race slightly differently, and talk about it being a battle between the north and south. I mean, I think we've got some top European drivers who are turning up now, and a lot of the Australian, New Zealand drivers, we don't get the opportunity to race the Europeans as much as we like. So I don't know. It's something to talk about maybe in the weeks to come.
Oh, definitely. And then if you throw in Simon Schultz, I think it is, when he joins us, he's actually from Germany, and he's often here and very strong as well. So we're definitely getting that international flavour, which is what they set out to do originally, was to allow great racing for the Aussies and try and get some more Europeans down here to make a race of it.
Yeah, and I saw Norman Salzer showed up tonight as well. I don't know if that was a one-off for him, but tremendously fast driver. I mean, he doesn't generally drive the skip that much, I think. So maybe that's reputation. Maybe we can just takes another 3 or 4 drivers, and we'll have a strength of field that starts to match the European strength of field. So I think I'll kick off some discussions in the forum and see what it's going to take to encourage people to come along. But as Ben Cornroy said in the forums today, we do have the Renault apocalypse coming. Well, that's trademark him, that phrase, but I thought that was pretty funny. The advent of the Renault FR 2.0 coming along in just a couple of weeks. It will be interesting to see how many people stick with the Skip Barber and how many try to make the transition to the Renault.
Yeah, predicting, I think initially a lot of people will jump on the Renault, but like we always see, with a shiny new toy, people normally gravitate back to where they feel strongest or get the best experience. So I think initially maybe the numbers will dwindle, but I'm pretty optimistic the Monday night skips will continue as strong as ever.
Yeah, I certainly hope so, and I think in terms of the popularity of the Renault, I don't recall in my 5 years there being a car that could compete with the Skip in that way. I mean, the SM is sort of quite difficult to set up, so it really depends on kind of how easy the Renault is to drive and how much of an arrive and drive car it is, because that's really where the Skip Barber excels. But I think there'll always be a following in the Skip. The people who leave it and then come back. So maybe you're right. First couple of weeks maybe it'll be a bit quieter, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, there's no reason why they can't run in both cars really, because Thursday nights will be the Formula Renault Australian Championship, and that's a fixed setup championship, which means the guys won't have to worry so much on setting up the Renault, just jump in and drive. And then you've got the Monday night skippies, which, as you said, there's not a lot they have to do to tune these cars. So I'm hopeful both championships can continue just as strong as ever. The Star Mazda Australian Championship has been replaced though with the Formula Renault, which that's what we would have expected, considering the Star Mazda's quite an old car and everyone wants to drive the Formula Renault.
Yeah, absolutely, and I've entered the FRAC, as it's now called, championship. In fact, I'll be teammates with Colin Sutty, so no hard feelings after last week's tangle on this track. I think counting in favour of the Skip Barber next season is a lot of the tracks are quite well known, it's particularly to the sort of drivers who've been around for a little while, so there's very little learning of the tracks to do. So that'll encourage people to get out as well, I think.
Oh, definitely. And where's Colin from? Is he a New Zealander or an Australian, or is he from some other part of the world?
Yeah, so he's Scottish. He lives on west coast of Australia.
Okay, well there you go. So yeah, I don't know where a lot of people go. I wouldn't even think you're from New Zealand because your accent's not really that strong.
Oh, well, no, to be fair, I'm Welsh originally, although I don't have much of a Welsh accent anymore. I've been in New Zealand for about 20 odd years, so I do count myself as a New Zealander. Except when Wales are playing the All Blacks, well, then I'm definitely a Welshman.
Yeah, well then you've got to go back for the mother country, I guess, or whatever you call it. But looking at drive of the night, Ian, it's going to be a hard one. I'm putting my vote in for Stephen Stoyles tonight, because he definitely took the race to the front runners once he got past Angelo.
Yeah, I think so. I think the fact that you've got a number 10 on your car and you're finishing in second place against the likes of Norbert and Enzo and so on, that's driver of the night for me.
Yeah, it was a brilliant debut for Stephen in this series, and we definitely hope he comes back and competes in other rounds. But it's really interesting, isn't it, that in the past, if Angelo had that altercation, he did come up from 11th, he got all the way up to 6th, but in the past he could have been even higher. But once he got into that top 5, he didn't seem to close down on the likes of Enzo, Chris, Stephen, David or Mick. Mick had another great race.
Yeah, I think the challenge he had there is that he just didn't have a draft partner. This is not a particularly technical track. There aren't a great number of places to make up time against the fast guys. You need a drafting partner, and he just didn't have one, and so he kind of languished down there. And I sat on board with him for a little while, and I watched him sort of push a little bit harder trying to find those tenths, and I think it probably ended up costing him time. But just important that if you're in a draft track like this, you just can't afford to be left out on your own. It's just, you're just going to be stuck in what position you're in.
Yeah, that's right. We could see the benefit of that draft down that huge front straight there. And having a look at the point score here, folks, Angelo Solera was leading. Enzo Canna will take the lead coming into the final round next week. And I think Russell Clark is he may move up to third. So there's still a lot to be fighting for the top 3 on the podium here.
Yeah, that's a real feature of this series, that the sort of people in the lower splits can take part in the points race. But I guess what sort of top 3 people are in fact in the top split tonight. It looks like Russell would have squeaked into the top split. He's car number 15, so he might actually be happier with finishing with starting in the lower split next week. And then who knows? With a bit of chaos at Mount Panorama in the top split, if he can get race win next week, it's all to play for. It really is.
Oh yeah, it certainly is, and I can guarantee you'd probably prefer to be in the second split, but he's in that hard position, isn't he, where he's floating in between the 2 splits depending on the strength of field. And tonight he finished 8th, so he did have a good run and he did get some good points, but I'm sure if he was in the second split he would have got a lot more points.
Yeah, I remember only too well bouncing between the top split and the second split, and I always had my fingers crossed for the second split, because if I was in the top split, it was really going to go well for me. And it's a pretty common sort of growth pain for the drivers coming through in this series. We hear a lot. We hear it, every sort of couple of months, or somebody will make the same complaint on the forums. But it's part of that. It's part of that growth curve, and I think ultimately, whilst they will have finished mid-pack here rather than at the top maybe in the previous split, generally speaking, the racers in the upper splits and the top split are going to give him more experience, and that'll grow his confidence, and before you know it, he'll be extremely disappointed to be in the second split.
That's right, and in the top split, it stretches him as a driver, doesn't it? Which makes him even quicker, and I guess that's what we see, don't we? We see them sort of straddling, and then once they get into the top split, they can generally stay up there because they will get that much quicker, and the confidence will grow, as you said. But not only that, they'll learn to drive the car faster.
Well, yeah, that's right, and I personally found it quite a motivating factor as well. Like most of us in this hobby are quite competitive, and there's nothing worse than finishing mid or at the back when you want to be at the front. That's a really good incentive to spend an extra hour on the track, or having a look into iSpeed, or your tool of choice. So it's a motivator as well as picking up sort of some hints or tips or something by watching the replays of the guys around you.
Yeah, well, that's definitely a very good point you make there, Ian. And for the viewers that are still with us tonight, if you like your Pro-Am sports car action, come back and join us Wednesday night at 9:15pm GMT plus 11 Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time for the Australian Sports Car Pro-Am. And the guys will be out again this Wednesday night and putting on a great show. So that's 9:15pm this Wednesday night, and then after that, I think we have a little bit of a break because the Australian GT3 Championship wrapped up last night. And if you didn't see that, you can jump on our channel and have a look at that replay. But as always, folks, if you like what you saw tonight, definitely give us a thumbs up if you can. It helps a lot. And if you want more of our iRacing action, subscribe to our channel. Let your friends and family know, because we are trying to grow this channel as much as we can. But anyway, Ian, thank you so much for jumping in. It was quite a difficult night technical wise for us here in the booth, but fortunately you jumped in and saved the day.
Yeah, I think saving the day is probably overstating it, but thanks, Bernie. Thanks again for the work you put into for the broadcasts and this series in particular, and thanks for giving rank amateurs like me an opportunity to commentate. Yeah, it's great. It really is.
Yeah, no, you're welcome up here anytime you like, and you did save the day, because if you didn't jump in, the poor viewers out there would have had to listen to me drone on and talk to myself for the 45 minutes to an hour. But anyway, folks, it's that time again. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we look forward to you joining us again, hopefully Wednesday night. But on behalf of Ian Bevan, I'm Bernie Wiemers, and thanks for tuning in to RRTV.